deep, long struggle, but it's going to be continuing this year in the upcoming semesters as we see the cuts to education only deepen and intensify. So when we talk about where young people are at, we've got to be open and honest about what socialism is versus what they think it is. We've got to be willing to, put down a lot of young people who are either they just have no ideology that's really connected at all, or they're anarchists. We got to really confront them and just be like, hey, there is a real world to change. We actually know how to do it. We've done it. So that's what I have to say about that.
We'd like to open up the workshop for discussion at this point. There's a microphone on here. People can just stand up and speak from the floor. Thank you so much. Okay, thanks for coming. In any case, feel free to share your thoughts, your own perspective, and any questions, comments, or anything.
Downstairs it was very expensive, like $8.
Yeah, can you speak up?
People talk about capitalism and socialism as if they're binaries, and you can really only have one system or the other, and really every economic system has traces of free market and regulated stuff. So, what type of socialist system would you like to see develop in the United States or internationally? How would you like to see that system develop? What type of methods would you propose for trying to implement such a system? And what are some of the things that people can immediately do to kind of oppose capitalism as it is now?
You want some?
Why don't we take a couple big questions and comments and then respond? Is that okay? Or if anybody else would like to listen. Anybody else?
Good question.
Yeah. It's a great question.
This question up here.
Oh. Okay. Well, what? Rocky. Start and then anybody else.
Well, when you're saying that, capitalism and socialism has to be a dichotomy like that, I mean, I feel like what we were talking about sort of in terms of, one is based on profit, that doesn't include human need. And maybe, some people do benefit. I mean, some people definitely do benefit from making a profit, but it's not based on anything that's going to be helping the majority of the masses of people. And socialism is based on the idea that the money is not there for itself. It's there to create, systems and whatever it is that can, benefit people, and institutions and different things like that. And so I think that they are inherently different. I think that they're that they are opposing each other as well. And that I don't think so when people talk about, we can just make reforms to capitalism until it's good for people. But I think that's kind of where the question is. Can you make enough reforms so that capitalism can be good for people? And I don't think so. I think, you can make reforms and it can be better than it is now. But inherently, it's a system that's made to keep expanding and keep, getting into any kind of market it can and, make a profit wherever it can. There's even things like microcredit, which most of everyone could talk about that too, like microloans. It's just ways to get into the most remote, rural areas, forest areas, and just get money out of it. And so it's not, it's just not tied to anything that can be positive and beneficial for humans because. I'm sure that people can list off the things that are positive in our lives, and it's not necessarily our bank account, and those aren't the things that make our lives full, make our lives, better, and allow us to go further in life and whatever it is. It's like things that, opportunities that are created around us. So, I think that, it definitely is to opposing economic system. And I think things that we can do now, I mean, a lot of it, like Jen was saying, you know, that we need to make these connections and see that all of these things are connected. And all these things like racism and sexism and everything are reinforced through capitalism. That by us seeing each other as, you know, that we're all, you know, part of the same group, working class, that we have something to gain by struggling together. You know, it overcomes a lot of things like racism and sexism that teach us to see each other as very different and some better than others and whatever. So I think, you know, struggling on different oppressions is definitely a step towards ending capitalism and fighting for socialism. And definitely fighting for socialism on right is
I just wanted to also respond to that. Yeah, I mean, to your question about the whole society having elements of the system, I mean, I think that that's definitely true, but we have to look at whether we think that's a good thing or a bad thing, and whether we think that having an element of capitalism in your society is a good thing for people. And, you know, if we're talking about our ideal society, what we would like to see, are the elements of capitalism within, you know, social societies progressive, or are they helping the people there, or are they concessions? Like, you know, we can look at the examples of the social democratic countries in Europe that are going through a huge economic crisis right now, and although they were able to give a lot of, you know, concessions to the workers of those countries when they were doing well, the first thing that happens when there's an economic crisis, because it's still set up as a capitalist system, is they slash the benefits to the workers, they slash the benefits of the people, they go right after them. So none of that is secure when you're still in a capitalist system. And even in countries like Cuba, where they have very, very small, you know, private farmers markets and so forth like that were just recently developed after the collapse of the Soviet Union, when they were in incredible economic peril. Even the government, the people of Cuba admit that this is a concession that they have to make, that they don't want it in their system, that it isn't healthy for them, but they just need some hard currency to sort of get them through right now, because they are a tiny island in a world of capitalism, and they, even though they can't end it off completely. But it isn't what they want, because capitalism isn't necessary for, you know, for humanity, for progress. It doesn't help us get anywhere. It's a deterrent. It's like a barrier in the way of human progress. So what we would like is, you know, more socialism, less capitalism. And the only way to really get rid of it altogether is to defeat it, to destroy it. Because it's not as if it's just, you know, two sort of entities kind of getting along with each other, like people who support capitalism, whose interests it works, who are incredibly wealthy and who benefit from capitalism, want to keep that system. And they'll fight to get it. And so they're in a constant struggle. There's this constant struggle going on to, you know, between the rights of profit and between workers' rights. And as long as you live in a system where the government is basically, you know, working in the interests of those who want the profit system rather than those who want a worker-based system, then you're always going to have to struggle. But why should there be that struggle? I was talking to you just earlier. Why should we have to struggle constantly for our basic human needs? Why do we need profit at all? We don't need it. We don't need the banks. You know, we don't need the bosses. We can make things ourselves. We can run our own society without them. So let's just get rid of them. Just get rid of them, right? And have a society that's solely based and run by workers and by people instead. The way that we get there, I mean, I think that we should have a discussion about that. I mean, I think, you know, it seems so far away right now. We're sitting in a room with a small group of people. But change happens quickly in society, especially as events show people the quality of the economic system. So, I mean, I think, you know, revolutions have happened in different periods in different countries in all different ways. They all have different forms based on the culture of that society, the history of that society. And we can talk about, like, how we see that happening here in the United States, but I definitely think it's possible.